Alright, I mentioned in one of my other videos that the difference that mitogens and growth factors can actually do different things. So one of them is regulating growth of the cells in G1 and G2, and one of them is regulating kind of the whole cell division, whether the cell should divide or not. So mitogens stimulate cell division, growth factors can regulate growth. However, one of the reasons there's a little bit of overlap between the terms is sometimes the mitogens can do both, and therefore mitogens are growth factors, or you could think growth factors are mitogens. And that might make sense because you really need the growth of the cell and the cell division to be correlated, right? However, the factors that regulate the cell size, when the cell should grow and when it should stop growing and so forth, are largely unknown, right? And this is just a brief video, but I think it's kind of a fun thing to think about a little bit. We know that they need to be coordinated, right? So maybe there's a factor that causes growth, and then that growth causes cell division. All right, and so in this case, G1, when it's already grown enough, that's what can kind of be part of what stimulates cell division. Sometimes, for some cells, there are two different factors that probably need to be expressed at the same time. The growth factor causes cell growth, the mitogen causes cell division, and they definitely need to be correlated, because if they're not, then you have massive issues with huge cells but not enough cells, or a lot of cells that are too small. Oftentimes, this is probably what happens most. There's an extracellular factor that causes basically growth factors and mitogens to both be working together. But really, just the point I want to make is that these two things are distinct. So the term growth factor is really something that stimulates cellular growth. Mitogens stimulate cell division, although there's a lot of overlap there. And those two things do need to be coordinated. So as with most things in biology, though, we do know about a few of these factors based on what happens when they're not working. So what happens when it goes wrong is how we kind of learn about what something does. And so there is a protein called myostatin, whose job it is to inhibit proliferation of myoblasts, which are the skeletal muscle precursor cells, and this is during development. So if myostatin is not working, then the development of those skeletal muscle precursors doesn't stop when it's supposed to, and this can lead to some major issues. So here are some examples of animals that have myostatin not working. So this is a cow, and you can see that the muscles are just massive. Unfortunately, apparently this just tastes horrible and it's very tough meat. So it's not a good way to make more carne asada burritos or anything, but you can see the muscles here. Here's the dog, so you can see the skeletal muscles in the leg. This is a wild type mouse, and there's the myostatin inhibited mouse. And this is actually an image of a 2-year-old. So this can even happen in people, where the regulation of the coordination of cell division and cell growth is lost. And so this is this child here, massive kind of muscles even at age 2 and so forth. So that's just kind of showing something, showing one of those growth factors, one of those cytokines, and that coordination of regulation, what happens when that is lost.